Fabula Ultima, Fabulous Ultimate, Fabio Ulterior Motive, Fab 5 Ultra Deluxe. Fabula Ultima is Ryutama with more shit bolted onto it. That's my review, but there's a very large and malicious phrase at the end there, and for good reason. I love Ryutama. It's a genuine gem, something simple, but never outstaying a cozy welcome. Fabula Ultima, on the other hand, is Ryutama More Edition, but like cooking, more only sometimes equals better. Let me explain. Fabula Ultima is an Italian game with a pretty direct influence from a handful of JRPG properties, namely Grand Blue Fantasy and Final Fantasy XIV. Not really the others, just 14. To summarize the system, we need to make a character, thus we'll be walking through everything with John Anime, the final anime protagonist. The first thing about a character are their traits, namely their identity, theme, and origins. These are basic lines which define a character. Identity of John is Fight Man, while his theme is simply anime. Origin is dependent on the collective created setting by the players and the GM, as Fabula Ultima has literally no setting and very, very little tools in creating one. You are playing in a generic fantasy JRPG land TM at the end of things. Luckily, our origin is from Kyukaido. These can be invoked to re-roll dice, but to invoke these, you must spend your mystic, magical, Fabula Ultima boys, well, Fabula points to do a thing. That's all they do. Next, we move on to our bonds, but each bond only has a handful of defined attributes: admiration, inferiority, loyalty and mistrust, or affection and hatred. With increasing depth means just adding one of these. For example, John Anime's girlfriend, Suzy Manga, he has admiration affection for, thus a bond level of 2. And guess what? You can invoke them as well, but only add value of the bond to a roll. You also need to spend your magic Fabula points. That's all they do. Now, our character level. In Ryutama, there were about 10 levels, with the game focused on a very low power, low stakes game. The entire point wasn't getting superpowers, it was delivering those goddamn apples to goddamn Paratown and crying in the goddamn rain. There are 50 levels in Fabula Ultima, and you start at level fucking 5. These levels go directly into various classes. There are 15 classes in total, from Weapon Master, who hits things well, to Spiritist, Priest, who heals people with magic, to Sharpshooter, who shoots people, and of course, who can forget the Druid and the fucking Edgelord. Each class has a selection of class abilities, which each level grants you one of, but many of these can be taken multiple times to improve oneself. Some classes even give you access to martial weapons and armor, which are a strict upgrade over the basic stuff, which you should always take. Restrictions? There are none. Take whatever you want. You have 5 levels. John Anime is taking 3 levels in Guardian and 2 levels in Fury. He gets all the martial gear bar ranged weapon, but he hits people for fun. Fury grants him plus 5 HP and 2 levels in Withstand, while Guardian grants him plus 5 additional HP, as well as the Bodyguard, Protect, and Defensive Mastery 1 skills. Well, that was fun. Well, you want more entertaining things? These seem kind of odd to you. Well, what do you mean? Combat is a game of bonking the enemy and they bonk you. Movement? Never heard of it. That lovely battle map from Ryutama, which emulated JRPG so well. Never heard of it. Just roll to hit and don't die. Now we get into actually what we're rolling. Took a while. Our 4 attributes are Dexterity, Insight, Might, and Willpower, are all ranked out of a die value to represent it. Our choice? Well, we're going with average. D10 Might, D8 Dexterity, D8 Willpower, D6 Insight. Whenever you need to make a check, you're going to be rolling 2 of these and adding the results. That's it. Ryutama was built in a game to be played in a cafe for maybe 2 to 3 hours at most by complete newbies. Just a fun fact, unrelated to this of course. At the end of the day, you add everything up and that's it. You did it. You really became John Anime. Buy some of the relatively limited gear and you're off to go on adventures and confront villains, but don't confront them too much, as villains have an entire mechanic dedicated to them powering up, which may lead to them disaster as they enter their final form and get more Ultima points to spend to increase their own abilities and become stronger. Getting stronger and stronger with more HP you have to wail on. At level 20 and 40, you actually increase your die by 1 size and you get a trickle of XP every session, often around 7 to 10 depending on the group in the session. Every 10 XP gets you 1 level, and if you hit level 10 in a class, you master it and gain a heroic skill, which can put into any point into. Heroic skills are like regular skills, but cooler. You must be at least level 12 to do this, by the way. 70 experience. Fuck it, I can't do this anymore. You wanna know why I don't much care for this game? You wanna know really why? I don't care for it because it is bolted on things rather than add on to Ryutama's simplicity. Ryutama is a very simple game and doesn't need to be complicated. The issues is that every good idea Fabula puts forward, the advancing villains mechanic, the expanding the class system out, the inventory system to buy basic consumables in the field is genuinely a good idea. there is an immediate downgrade in others. The simplicity of the system, the time it takes to get a noticeable mechanical advantage, the lack of anything resembling options outside of classes, which still feel half-assed because it's stapled onto rather than woven into everything because the class systems have to accommodate the basic system. There's this argument you can make that it's all about what you make of it. The issue is that Fabula Ultima is a shell with no core. What it wants to do is have this rather extensive story and idea, but the support base it's built on can't do that well. So rather than try to build a stronger foundation, it's covered up by shit, like Blades in the Dark clocks, for example. They don't add anything, but they bolt onto the base design. They even remove some aspects like the relatively detailed travel system and the battle map, which flummox me because those are right up the game's alley, what it's trying to say, but they replaced it for reasons. Fabula Ultima is Ryutama with more shit bolted onto it, but having shit bolted onto anything often makes it stink. My name is Notepad, and this was Fabula Ultima. If you like what I do here, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And many thanks to the suspiciously placed shop vendors before a dungeon who fund my mad designs. Godspeed, and good luck.